Exciting times for Prison Architect. It was just released about a week ago, and this is now version 1.0. Hard to believe after years in alpha. And it's actually been about a year since I made my last YouTube video, and that was actually a tutorial on how to make the most efficient workshop in this game, which you can still watch. It pretty much all still applies to this game today. Actually, all of it still applies, so definitely watch that if you want to find out how to make an efficient workshop. But a lot of the questions that I received on that video were, how do I actually get prisoners interested in working in the workshop in the first place? You know, how do I get them to actually take the reform programs they need in order to actually start working? Because you can see, there's actually no one interested in the workshop safety induction course in this prison right now. I do know a thing or two about getting prisoners interested in that. I have 105 that have finished the class. That might have something to do with why there's no one interested. They might have already taken it, right? And I have made a lot of money in this prison. I have $268,000 that I made just yesterday in game time. But there's no one interested in the workshop safety induction. Well, why is that? It really boils down to just one thing, and that's suppression. There's two ways that prisoners get suppressed. The first way is through punishment. You know, they can get locked up in solitary, or they can get stuck in their cell for misbehaving, and that will suppress them. But another more widespread method of suppressing your prisoners that I see a lot is armed guards. You can see in this prison I have armed guards patrolling the cell blocks. I have armed guard in the canteen. I even have armed guards in the workshop in the classroom, and that definitely keeps my prisoners behaving well. You can see there's 14 with serious complaints, but absolutely no danger because I have pretty much all of them under suppression, right? The reason why this is bad is because they don't get interested in reform programs. It's just how this game works. If your prisoners are suppressed, they won't be interested. And even if they do happen to be interested, even though they're suppressed, they're not going to be able to pass the course nearly as easily as if they weren't suppressed, because it affects their concentration in the class. And as such, they likely won't pass the class in the first place, and then they won't be qualified to work in the workshop. So the best way to deal with this is obviously to remove a lot of your armed guards. Let's see, I have armed guards like I mentioned in my cell blocks. Just take them out. Cell blocks are bad. They're going to be suppressed all the time whenever they're in the cell, whenever they're sleeping. That's really bad. Take them out of the shower. I know it's really tempting to put them in the shower because it's where a lot of mishaps can happen in your prison. But take them out of the shower. Take them out of your canteen. And by all means, take them out of your classroom and your workshop. That's where prisoners are trying to learn stuff, and it's directly affecting their concentration. Now, I'm not saying get rid of your armory entirely, because it still definitely serves some purpose. As you can see, I still have some armed guards patrolling in the outdoor areas. And that's still not totally ideal, because prisoners will still be suppressed walking past them. But it's a lot better than keeping them in individual rooms. But really, I would just try to eliminate them as much as possible. And you can keep them towards the entrance, you know, so this way prisoners won't really escape. If they're out here anyway, they're probably trying to escape, otherwise they wouldn't be out here. So having an armed guard out here is not a problem at all. And then also you can fire them, which saves you a lot of money. That's another benefit of this, is when you fire your armed guards, you're saving, I want to say, $1,500 every day in their salary. So it definitely helps out your income, both in terms of getting your prisoners interested in working in the workshop and other reform programs, as well as just not having to pay your armed guards salaries. So it definitely helps. Do keep in mind that it will take a few in-game days for the suppression to wear off if you've had a lot of armed guards in your prison. And also make sure that you have a balanced regime. If you don't have a balanced regime, then your prisoners might kick off because their needs aren't being met and they're no longer suppressed. You can see that this regime is pretty balanced. It incorporates some free time, plenty of work, and enough sleep. And enough eating, of course. And speaking of eating, one more way that you can get prisoners interested is through making them well-fed. Well-fed is a status effect that can happen if you have a good policy in terms of your food. So you can see in this prison I have a high meal quantity and a high meal variety, and as such, a lot of my prisoners have the well-fed status effect. See, it's right below suppress, which will slowly be fading off. And having your prisoners well-fed actually helps them to pass reform programs. And it contributes to the reform grading. So it actually has... Oh, and also they don't kick off as easily. So it sort of has some of the benefits of suppression without any of the negative consequences of suppression. The only negative consequence of keeping your prisoners well fed is it will cost you some money. But bear in mind that that's more of an investment in having them be able to work in the workshop, which will earn you a lot more money than it will actually cost. One more spot that you can also put armed guards that I forgot to mention is, of course, in your Supermax Wing, which I actually made a video about, so be sure to check that out if you want to see more about this little wing of my prison over here. But anyway, if this video has been helpful to you, I really hope that you please take the time to give it a like. If you want to see any more YouTube tutorials on this channel, be sure to subscribe. Leave any questions that you might have in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks a lot for watching.